Hello, beautiful people. Future me. Welcome to another programming workout of mine. We will be doing Spring tutorial as always, the first time in the morning, and we will start with the typing uh, for 5 minutes as always. So let's get into it. Start the timer. Let's go. Alright, what is the result? 6%. Oh well, it is what it is. Stick with it. Continue. out of the time. Bye-bye. Okay, so I'll stop this timer, start the Spring timer, and I will continue in I don't know what. So let's get to here, and the project I was working on was Hello Spring. Where is it? Hello, Hello Spring. Can open it very much. Okay, and we have the step 5, and that was the running, I remember correctly. I remember that. And I have some error. I have some error. Bum bum bum. Okay, I will try to run it again. Maybe it works magically. Who knows? Run main app. Okay, and we have a problem. Problem. Okay, so we will go through the previous steps. That is the strategy. We'll return on the top of the page and have a look. So we created, so we have higher version of that. It should be okay. Then Project Explorer, they were adding some libraries, but we don't have all of them. Create source files. So I can have a look here. It is Hello World. Here, Hello World. And it is further simpler. Private string message. Public void set message. So we have a setter and getter. Yep, that looks good. Then we have the main dot Java, and that will be here. So we have a main app, no annotation, and we have two imports, application context, class path XML, blah blah blah. Main method, application context. And then we have a new class path XML application context. Beans.xml. Ah, okay. So this will be the thing which I'm missing. Beans.xml. Maybe now it will work. Oh, success. Okay, cool. I'm fixed it. I'm great. I'm the best. Haha. All right. Okay, so that's very good. And we can continue. So we can say that this one is completed. I'll do that, and it will be what was it? Hello world example. Hello world example. Chapter complete. Like so. Commit. So the problem was that in the class path XML application context, I did not specify that, and it takes the COM. It is in the COM. Well, in source. It is in source, inside of the source. I would not be able to tell. Looks like it's inside COM, but it's not okay. 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 I did the commit, right? Yep, I did. Okay. So we will continue to IOC containers, whatever that means. So the Spring container is at the core of the Spring framework. The Spring container is the core of the Spring framework. Hello world example, and we will continue in this copy. I will amend it. Commit. Okay, good. Good. Okay, let's get back in here. I'll hide you because why not? Because why not waste all the time in here? Header, style, display, none, done. Okay. And here we will say the container will create the objects, wire them together, configure them, and manage their complete life cycle from creation till destruction. Objects, okay. The container does it, okay. The Spring container uses dependency injection to manage the components that make up an application. These objects are called Spring Beans, which we will discuss later. We will discuss in the next chapter. Okay. The container gets its instruction on what objects to instantiate, configure, and assemble by reading the configuration metadata provided. The configuration metadata can be represented either by XML, Java annotations, or Java code. The following diagram represents a high-level view of how Spring works. Okay, the Spring IOC container makes use of Java Pojo classes and configuration metadata to produce a fully configured and executable system or application. container gets instruction on what objects to instantiate, configure, and assemble by reading the configuration metadata provided. The configuration metadata can be represented either by XML, Java annotation, or Java code. So there are three variants, and currently I'm doing the XML way, right? So I have the beans XML, and here, yeah, and that is the configuration we started to do. Following diagram represents a high-level view of how Spring works. The Spring IOC container, that is the inversion of control, right? Yeah. Spring inversion control container makes use of Java Pojo, plain old Java object, classes, and configuration metadata, and produce a fully configured and executable system application. Brochuť. The Java Pojo classes goes into the Spring container. There's some metadata. So I'm supposing the Spring container kind of pulls them. Maybe it pulls the Pojo classes and the metadata, and it outputs ready-to-use application. Wow, okay. Spring provides the following two distinct types of containers. We have a Spring Bean Factory container and Spring Application Context container. The Spring Application Context, I think we defined somewhere, right? And it was in the main. Yeah, there's application context. Right, yeah. So application context. And the Bean Factory. I don't know. This is just get bean, so that's this context. I don't know. We'll see. So the Spring Bean Factory container is the simplest container providing the basic support for dependency injection and is defined by the org Spring Framework Bean Factory interface. Okay. The Bean Factory and related interfaces such as Bean Factory Aware, Initializing Bean, Disposable Bean are still present in Spring for the purpose of backward compatibility with a large number of third-party frameworks that integrate with Spring. Okay. Why do you say still present? I don't know. This container adds more enterprise-specific, the Spring application context adds more enterprise-specific functionalities such as the ability to resolve textual messages from a properties file and the ability to publish application events to interested event listeners. Textual messages from properties file and ability to publish application events. This container is defined in like this part, application context interface. And here's some more text. The application context container includes all functionality of the Bean Factory container. Okay. So it is generally recommended over Bean Factory. Bean Factory can still be used for lightweight applications like mobile devices or applet-based applications where data volume and speed is significant. Okay, so we kinda did that thing. So maybe I can say the nodes. We will say in chapter, what was it? IC container, IC containers. It's just some X. There's no code, just explanations. Explanation. Okay, I will commit. I will say, okay, done, done, done. IOC containers. Okay, and commit. Oh yeah, and this one should be different when we change it, so it will be Spring Bean definition the next chapter. So we do that. Okay, and you go in, and I will amend that commit. Okay. Spring Bean definition. That's what I did here. Yeah, Bean definition. Spring Bean definition. The objects that form the backbone of your application and that are managed by the Spring IOC container are called beans. A bean is an object that is instantiated, assembled, and otherwise managed by Spring IOC container. These beans are created with the configuration metadata that you supply to the container. For example, in the form of XML bean definitions. Okay, so we can have a look, sees, and that is in here, that is this part. This part, okay. Maybe I want, for now, the assistant on top. It's lagging? Why? Okay, cool. Top, left, apply, okay. Here we go. Maybe it will be overlapping with that thing. At bottom will be better. Here, bottom, apply. Okay, 5 minutes to go. Assembly manager by Spring IOC. These, yeah, so we were here. Definitions, which you have already seen in the previous chapters. Bean definition contains the information called configuration metadata, which is needed for the container to know following. There are 3 things: how to create a bean, bean's lifecycle details, and bean's dependencies. All the above configuration metadata translates into set the following properties that make up each bean definition. So here is The class is how you create it, I think. Uh, the lifecycle, I don't know, and the dependencies, I don't know. Well, all of this looks like how to create it. It looks like this, and here is some for constructor parameters, and entire this thing is just, like the information. Like the ID is hello world, so this is identifier. If I remember correctly, this will have a, it doesn't have anything. What is the, yeah, so it is identifier for the context for the container. hmm So that is for the container information. So here is like ready to use. Oh crap, go back. And here is use this bean. Okay, 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 I can dig it. So here we have some properties and description. All the above configuration metadata translates into, you go away. I don't like that. Come on. So, yeah, that guy. Uh, display will be none. Thank you very much. And here we will have translates into set of the following properties that make up each bean definition. All of them? Class, name, scope, constructor arc, properties, auto wiring mode, lazy initialization mode, destruction method. Okay, so class. This attribute is mandatory. Okay, so not everything is mandatory. Okay, so if I do find, looks like that's the only thing mandatory. Okay, it's mandatory and specifies the bean class to be used to create a bean. Okay, so that is here. That is this guy. The ID is not? Hmm. Name. This attribute specifies the bean uniquely. Here we have an ID. Can we have a name? Yeah, I kind of have. We have Hello World 2 and so on. Okay, so we can do something here. Name. This attribute specifies the bean identifier uniquely. In XML-based configuration metadata, you use the ID and or name attributes to specify the bean identifiers. Okay, so here I can do ID or name or both of them. Okay. Scope. This attribute specifies the scope of the objects created from a particular bean definition, and it will be discussed in beans scopes chapter. Okay, we will learn later. I suppose that will be like in which scope it will be visible or something like that. Probably. Constructor arguments. This is used to inject the dependencies. The dependencies, and we will discuss properties. Is okay. What did we had here? Property. We have property here. Oh well. We are out of the time, and we end up approximately here. So we will put it into our MD file, and that will Spring definition, and here we'll construct arc and table. Okay, and we just read, so I will do Control K, and we will say here we will say bean definition chapter, and here will be in progress. Yeah, okay, I'll commit, and this guy over here shows us that we are over the time limit, which means we are done. Done is better than perfect, and I will see you next time. Bye.